What's up, traders? Matt from the Trade Brigade here doing a technical analysis on ticker symbol MUDS for Mudrick Capital Acquisition. This, of course, is the SPAC merger for Topps, the card company there, having a lot to do with sports, daily on the left-hand side and the 30-minute time frame chart on the right-hand side. Jumping into the daily first to map out obvious areas of support and resistance. This is jumping off the page at me, 1125, and certainly this shelf of support here at 1060, we'll call it, give or take, and then this flush point, which we've built at 10 the whole dollar. To the downside after that, what are we seeing? Well, if we scrunch this chart up, you can see it kind of brings us back into this sort of stage of the SPAC, the SPAC anyways, where there wasn't a whole lot of interest first, and it probably was before it went public, only special people had access, whatever. Basically, our next major piece of support down here is around $9.69. After that, it's kind of down the drain for MUDS. So checking in now on some more relative price action here, specifically what's going on the 30-minute time frame chart. Huge increase in volume on the last 30-minute candle of the day with a massive red continuation candle to the downside. So let's just sort of look at this through the lens of the Fibonacci tool, as we always do. How were the moves intraday, right? Were they weak? Were they strong? What was going on here? So I would argue that this first move higher was relatively weak, right? We easily came down and took out the 38.2, took out the 50, sort of bounced off the 61.8, consolidated a bit, and then moved lower again. Obviously, it did catch another bid back to the upside. So let's go ahead and analyze this through the full lens of an adjusted Fibonacci move. So something like this up to the high. And if we look at this sequence, right, what happened here? Well, obviously it blew right through the 38.2, right through the 50, right through the 61.8 with no hesitancy at all, right? So right through our last critical line in the sand, which, as we know, was also coinciding with a daily level, right? We have that at that 1060 mark, as we know from right in here. That should have given some sort of support, I would have imagined, if this was a stronger stock at this point in time. So as things sit right now, it's really not looking that good, right? Obviously, this upper wick would indicate massive selling pressure. Doesn't really take a rocket scientist to tell that this massive red candle to the downside is no good for this. It's right off the daily 50 SMA, which I also do think is noteworthy. That's the blue line there. So I would be looking for downside continuation if we can flush under 10 the whole dollar. As we know, underneath that, we are looking for that price target at 969, simply because that's the lowest thing that we have. After that, there's no real saying how low this could go. With SPACs, some people talk about a floor being at 10. It can't go lower than that. It can't go lower simply because that's where people go in and you can redeem the shares for that much. I don't really know too much about that. I'm not going to pretend to be an expert, so it may or may not go under 10, but I just wouldn't want to be wrapped up in something that has explicitly shown a clear downtrend here, as well as extreme weakness on today's trading activity. So you have my thoughts on MUDS. Wouldn't be my first thing to try to pick a bottom here inside of. I would just kind of stay away from now. If you do have shares, maybe just keep an eye on that 10 whole dollar stop out underneath and hold on for the ride. If it remains above, consolidates, does anything like this, maybe you get lucky and get some sort of pop up towards those critical resistances which we just outlined overhead. So if you enjoyed today's video or learned anything new, let me know in the comment section or by giving the video a thumbs up. Don't forget our main channel is linked in the description, and all of that being said, I wish you a green trading week.